We're in the middle of a page, Ayin. The line begins with the word venimshach. So we are starting like this. There's the pnimius, which is rooted in the essence itself. This is Isreal and Beis and Torah. And then this pnimius brings about that there is what's called aliyas or ratzon. That there is an internal conversation. Omarti, I said, let there be a world. This is already the fallout. This is the chitzonius element. Olam chesed dibana. What is the principle of olam chesed dibana? It means it has a quality, a qualified presence. It's not the essence itself, but a qualified presence. Yes, indeed, this is the ratzon pashut, shelamanim hachochma, and yet there is an element of what this represents. And therefore, this is, he says, in Mishtal Shel, this is chaining down to the lowest, and even to this lowest world. This oil mazeh hashofel does not contain, does not stand for the union from Atmos, but it stands for the richness of Elokus. Olam chesed dibana. I said we'll come back again to talk about the Chitzonius and so forth. Pnei, okay, we are in this line. Pnei shebechinas hapnimius, ein lo shiur. Because of the pnimius aspect, ein lo shiur, has no measure, has no limit. L'maylo aden ketz, all the way up to the highest aden ketz, to no end. Ukmesha kosu, and as it says, l'chol tich l'roishe ketz, l'chol v'meschos v'meyed. This pasuk is saying l'chol tichlo. To anything, tichlo means desire. Any desirable thing, roishe ketz, I could see an end. Mitzvoscha, but the mitzvahs rechava me'oid is without limit. And he says in parentheses, what does this mean? Ve'inyan she'ein le'shir l'maylo. The principle that the ein le'shir l'maylo has no measure l'maylo. Hainu, it means to say shehu b'bchinas hel and be'etzim. That there is, that it goes all the way to hel and be'etzim, to that which is be'etzim in essence be'helam. Shehazeh b'chinas helam ho'atzmi. The principle of helam, be'etzim, and helam in general, I think we discussed. sometimes I don't remember whether they discussed in here class and this or in the shaky class. Helm. Helm means that which occurs, which transpires, but there is no need at all for expression. Thank you. Why is there no need for expression? Because it stands for that which is real in and of itself. Just to give us a little bit of a handle on this. We spoke many times. The world is a huge world with infinite variety. And the variety is very engaging. I mean, there are creatures of all kinds. Each one has a different nature and so forth. And yet, we all understand that without the presence of Adam, of a human being, there is no significance. There's nothing there. Everything is just precarious. Everything is reactive. There is not a real presence that stands for anything. Then comes Adam. Once Adam came into the world, that's what we said many times, one human being was put into the world, and the world came to a sense of reality. Yes, this is real. Even though this is one Adam amongst thousands of beasts. One human being changed the entire status, perspective of the world. It became real. Even though Adam has not yet even taken a single step in the world. He's just present here. And he already gave the world a status of reality. That status of reality that Adam made, in other words, Adam made the world by his very presence. This is completely behelm. There is not a statement, there is not a means to explain how is this, what happened. This sense of reality that Adam brings to the world, whereby by his presence he makes the world into a real presence, it represents a real present reality in its essence. Not what the world is going to accomplish and what's going to happen, what kind of building it's going to build, just the sense of real. This is, now we always say, it is worthy of the Creator to have made it. To make it. To create a world of beasts without, no matter how variety and all that, what's the point? If there's no point, there's no reality. Translate this statement. This statement is, so to speak, exists in the essence in the essential union of truth, of presence, not in its, not in the functional element at all. Because functionally it remains exactly the same. This is the principle that it goes to Helem Ho'atzmi. Helem Ho'atzmi means it is Behelem because it is an Atzmi. Atzmi means a primary truth. Like we say in the Rambam school. There's a first being. What's the first being about? The principle that there is a first being, this gives the world an essential presence. Which means that things that happen in the world is not a reaction, is not to fix something and to fill a gap. There's a first being, there's a reality. We don't even have that concept, and we have to learn it from Chassidus, from the Torah. Yes, Bereshis bara Elokim shemayim v'ha'aretz. Shemayim v'ha'aretz. There is something which precedes it, which gives it a real presence. The Shemayim v'ha'aretz are real not because of themselves, of how varied and how great they are, because they have a creator. This is what gives them a real presence. And the creator has defined himself in the Shemayim v'ha'aretz with these two things, Beis Reishis, Isreal and Reis. And as we know, when it says, the Gemara says, that up until Matan Torah, the world had a precarious existence. The world was in a shaky state. It didn't have a real presence. It didn't have a basis for being. It was there, but there was no nakuda. And then the Torah was given, then became real. Venimshach and the Helem Ho'atzmi. This is as it is written elsewhere. Be'inyan, in discussing this quote from Arizal, Oire in Soif, Lamailo Aden Ketz, that Oire in Soif is Lamailo Aden Ketz, goes upwards ad Ayin Ketz to no Ketz, no end. As we said over here, that it goes into the Helem, and it is, and in the Helem also, it is, the reality is there. In the Helem. Alkei, and therefore, Gam bechinas hameses v'neibles hatainug. So therefore, the moises, the excess of the tainug, shenimshach mizeh, that comes from this, ein shiur, has no limit, lamato, going downwards. This is why it goes all the way to oilam hazeh hashofel, to this world hashofel, this lowly world, where there could be an entity that stands absolutely for nothing, hashofel. Alkein. Okay, that's what we say here. Mekom Okein, it says, Mekom Okein here still, Hachitzonius, here Leferach Apnimius. The chitzonius is lefierach hapnimius, is correspondent to the pnimius. Beriboy ha'oir, with enormous, with greatness of quantitative greatness of oir, shehu bebchinas ein soiv, shein shiur hamshachos. Senior from Riboy Ha'oir, I just wanted to kind of interject something that eventually it's necessary for us to have that insight. The world, this world upon which, the earth upon which we travel, and the entire environment, the sky, the moon, the stars and all that, this is a finite world. No matter how great it is, it's a finite world. Yet, it actually represents infinity. As finite as it has an infinite aura, a presence that is infinite. Like we said the other day, that when people thought the earth was flat, they were not treading on solid ground. Then they were treading on what's called on the worldly platform. They're there because the end of the world is X number of miles away. But essentially they are treading on a finite platform. The truth is that no, there is no end. There is no end. Why is there no end? Because it is representing a pnimis union that has no end. So even in this that is reflected also. There is no end. Lamata adin tachlis.
Paltiel, this Mikol Mokim, and it doesn't seem to go counter to the statement right before. It seems to follow, to flow with it. It's Alderef. Okay.
I'll tell you what it is. This is Lamat. He says that we don't know where the Chatzon Yigul began because there is an insert over here. Okay. I would also relate it to that which he finished saying before. It's Ein Shir Lamato. Yes, it goes down. The further down you go, the less oil there is, the less reality. So he says no. Even so, Chitzenis is Lefier Hapnimis. Lefier Hapnimis means Beli Bayoir. And it has a Bechinas Ein Soif. No matter how far the Chitzenis extends, it has a quality of Ein Soif. This is why I brought in the Sinyan. It's an amazing thing that the earth and the whole environment that we live in does not represent a finite presence. And it is not due to the fact that we are not aware of it. This is what was when people thought that it's a flat land, so they're not aware where the end is. But there is still a precarious existence. It's not because there is an element of Ein Sof, and in whatever degree, in whatever level you find yourself. The reason there's an element of Ein Sof in the Lamata is because it represents Ayin from Pnimis at Ein Lashir.
What represents it?
The Lamata represents Ayin from Ein Shir.
That's the Pnimis.
For that, the Ein Shir, that's in the Pnimis. And this, in the Chitzonius, represents the Pnimis. And the Chitzonius, the Kilam. And Yibo Yo. The muscle for this, at our level, is, as we said many times, Baal Shem Tov says, Mokim sheritzayne shel odom sham hu. Where the ratzon of a person is, that is where he is. That means, this statement says like this, that a person is not bound by the limits of Olam Hazeh. In Olam Hazeh, if you have to go from place to place, you have to travel. And it takes time. You're not there instantaneously. But there is an element that is completely above that. As we explained many times, because Gam Ha'olam Nosum B'libam, that in the heart of men there is entire world. And therefore, he is there. The reason that he has that ratzon is because he really encompasses it. He said there is much to speak about it, but we already had exposure to this concept. Then the person begins to walk towards the place where he had designated where he wants to be. During this walk, since now he wants to get there physically, not in a ratzon, but on a limited level, on Olam Hazeh HaShofel level, is he now engaged in something finite. So we say no. In this finite activity is actually present the spirit of the Tzornei Shel Odom, of this infinite evil. Like we said many times, this is something which we can very readily relate to, that a person does not walk on a straight line. He does not walk on finite presence. He always walks on the entire reality. So he always has this Mokim Shetzini Shalom Shomru. Wherever he is going to, he is already there, essentially. But then there is the Olam Hazeh HaShofel, and therefore he has to bring that along. But he is always present, and the Olam Hazeh HaShofel also has this Riboy Oyer, which is also relating to this infinity all the time. This is the principle here. V'hainu, and this hitzonius, that which also has no shield, this is the ratzon oineg, as it is nimshach, drawn downwards, hamisamtzim b'chol ho'ilameis, and that get misamtzim, that, so to speak, is limited, is contracted, b'chol ho'ilameis, in all the worlds. This in misamtzim b'chol ho'ilameis, our classic motion for this is the principle of oil. Hashem created oil in the first day of creation. That oil did not have a basis in our worldly structure. It's just light. In the world, light. What does it mean? Where does it come from? It was not based on the physical present. The world is physical. Had no basis in the physical world, and therefore it could not be here. And that's why the Rebbe took it away and created a sun instead. And the sun, so to speak, camouflages, as we explained many times, this principle of oil, and it creates energy, which Elam Hazeh can relate to. Heat and so forth. This is recreating this principle, which is oil, on a worldly level, to allow to be within this worldly parameters. Amisamtzim. Ad shenimshach mebchinas chitzenis, the chitzenis ho'eneg v'harotzin. Step back a moment. Going back to our emotion from light. Despite the fact that this light has a physical basis, it's not really light, it's energy that reverberates and so forth. Nonetheless, it has the effect of the oineg and ratzon of light. As we mentioned many times, one of the principles of light is that you can relate to an object without having to come in contact with it, which is not a worldly kind of a concept. And as a result of this, you can have an awareness of an entire expanse. You're not limited to where you are. With one glance, you look into the entire environment, on tens of miles across, and it's real. So therefore, this is really Ayin of ratzon. You are where you want to be, and that is provided within the limits of Elam Hazeh.
So that all follows that this whole world has behind it a pneumius. That's why it's possible that
it all comes from the pneumius of Maila didn't get. You're sure. It originates in the pneumius, and then it goes into chitzenius and chitzenius and chitzenius. Ad shenimshach mebchinas chitzenius, the chitzenius ho'eneg v'harotzin lamato mato b'yoser. Until that from the chitzenius, the oineg and ratzon is nimshach lamato mato b'yoser. Very, very low. Where do we see the oineg and ratzon in this? I give you the mashal from sight. You have to understand, and we mentioned many times, the experience of sight actually is, I see, because I'm not coming in contact with it, I'm not feeling it, it doesn't have any effect on it. What is the meaning I see it? I want to see it. There is significance in seeing it. So this is like the oineg and ratzon mistalshel all the way down to the lowest levels. Lamata b'yesir. Gam, and ultimately it is nimshach even the klipas noiga dibiyah. Ultimately, this oinag ratzon eliki is nimshach, and it is recognized in klipas nega of biyah. And olam hazeh hashofil, this is even lower than klipas nega. It's principally sholish klipas. In other words, it's a klipa, and in this klipa there is an inyan from oinag ratzon eliki. And it represents essentially an inyan of ligvul.
Are you saying it's sholosh klippus? It means that there is onik and ratzon, and it's so to say like looking at things which are really contrary to the Eibishter's will.
You can put it this way, which are really contrary to Oinag and Ratzon. There is no explanation for the Oinag and Ratzon in there. Like we're saying, there is no chayes and there is a chayes. Omnam hakoil nichla. However, okay, hold on. The truth is, hakoil nichlal berotzin v'tanag hapnimish v'teiro mitzvus shomiz Yisrael. All of this entire spread, all the way from the Maila Adin Ketz, Ulamato Mato Adin Tachlis to the Oilam Hazeh Atachli, over the Klipas Nega, Koil Nichlal Berotzim V'Tanag Apnimi. It is all included, and it is drawn from the Toinag V'Tanag Rotzim and Tanag Apnimi Shebeteiru Mitzvah and Shomas Yisrael. There is nothing that does not represent in some distant way the inyan from Torah Mitzvahs and the Shomas Yisrael. And it is Torah Mitzvahs and Shomas Yisrael that give it a presence. Coming back to our illustration of Adam coming to the world is a huge world. But he has no presence. Adam came into the world, and he is sitting over there in Gan Eden, in one place, and everything is affected by it. Everything is affected by it. There is Adam. What did it say in the pashut? Hashem created Adam. He says, "This is the world, and I want you to rule, or do bidgaz hayom. You rule bidgaz hayom u'meiva shomayim." How is Adam going to rule Gaza Yom Yerushalayim? By his very presence, he gives them a presence, a meaning. There's a ruler, there's a stance, there's a status. Everything has an element of the senior from Torah and Yisrael. And this is what gives it a presence, and gives it a chayas, an oineg ados. Okay, this will be for today, and this is a reaching in which we will revisit the mitzvah again. Have a great day.
Mikol ha'amim,